been the most attractive human.
In the world, JFK and Marilyn Monroe's baby.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so attractive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it could end up being like a Brooklyn Beckham. Like,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? It could go down that road.
Yeah, can't cook.
Can't do anything. Can't take photos.
Oh, that baby would have had the worst photography direction of all time.
Hello! Welcome to Believe. I'm Phil Green.
And I'm David Ferguson.
And we are back for season 3, motherfuckers. How exciting. We've had a little name change.
Oh, we have, because we got married?
Yeah.
No, we did. We didn't. Well, we were just Believe.
That's right. Just
Believe.
But it's still about conspiracies.
Yes, still about conspiracies, myths and mysteries, the esoteric, things that you want to see investigate, the weird, the strange, and the topical.
We also have a brand new studio.
Oh my God, isn't it beautiful?
Yes, George has built us a brand new studio, and if you're thinking it doesn't look any different to the last one, you're wrong, because it's got plants, and it's got lights, and it's very pretty, isn't it?
It's really pretty.
It's really pretty. He's done an amazing job. We're very proud of him. We gave him an extra biscuit, didn't we?
Did we?
Oh, sorry about that. Anyway, we've also changed our socials slightly, haven't we?
Yes. Believe Pod.
Yeah, nice and simple. Believe Pod.
Believe Pod. Believe God. Believe Pod. We're on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and soon Blue Sky.
Blue Sky. You can get in contact with us via those channels. Let us know what you think of the podcast. Let us know what you'd like us to cover on the podcast. DM us, comment. You can also email us. It is believeconspiracypod@gmail.com. We haven't changed the email yet. You can let us know what you want us to cover on this podcast, and we will try and find someone who wants to cover that conspiracy, myth, or mystery for you. And if you would like extra episodes of this podcast every goddamn week, how can they get those?
Oh, of course we'd want extra episodes. We've got a Patreon.
Oh, we now have a Patreon. How exciting. If you'd like to help us support the podcast, please join our Patreon. It's only £5 a month, and you get an extra episode every motherfucking week. You also get early access to our normal episodes, ad-free listening. It is a great deal. You're helping us build and support the podcast, and we will love you for that forever.
Yes, this is between two friends doing this, but you're a part of that. George is part of that. We want everyone to come together and help it make it the best that it can be. For the price of a cup of coffee, every month you can do that. So we would love you to get involved.
Help us make the magic.
Our first Patreon episode, the guest was Rich Spalding.
Wonderful Rich Spalding. He returned to us. Of course, he was one of our guests in our first season. So we brought him back. It was one of our live episodes recorded at the Edinburgh Fringe last year. And what was the conspiracy that he chose?
The 27 Club.
27 Club. Celebrities that have mysteriously died at the age of 27. Is there something in it? We don't know. That's why you should join the Patreon to find out. Now, I am doing some previews of my latest show. I'm going to be in London on the 1st of March, Weston-super-Mare on the 22nd of March, Glasgow on the 29th of March. 11th of April, I will be in London again at 21 Soho. 2nd of May, I'll be in Southampton. And at the end of May, I'll be in Brighton. There's a link in the bio to any of those shows. It's very cheap tickets because it's a work in progress show. And also on philgreencomedy.com. Now, George is here.
The wonderful George.
Couldn't look more like a podcast studio owner if he tried. And who is our first guest for this season?
Kicking off season 3, we have the sublime Shalaka Kurup.
Shalaka Kurup. Shalaka is an Indian stand-up comic and a writer, a doctor by education and a comedian by choice. Shalaka has shot onto the UK circuit, receiving numerous awards, winning the West End New Actor of the Year, and she was a finalist in the Channel 4 Sean Locke Award, which is a very prestigious award.
And she's very deserving of it.
She's a fantastic comedian, and we imagine an amazing doctor. And what is the conspiracy Shalaka is kicking us off with?
Marilyn Monroe was murdered.
Marilyn Monroe was murdered?
Marilyn Monroe was murdered.
Marilyn Monroe was murdered.
Justice for Marilyn.
Let's bring on Shalaka.
Get out of the rabbit hole.
It's a fake. Every single bird in the sky is a robot.
It's fiction.
Doubt your government.
It's an urban legend.
Like if they're actually spraying something in the sky.
No way.
A stream of absurdity.
It's a total fabrication.
Welcome to the podcast, Shalaka Kurup!
Oh,
Freezing.
I'm freezing.
You look very wintry. It's a good, strong wintry look.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
We've given you tea.
Yes.
We ran out of milk, so it's just no milk tea.
Just straight brown tea.
Yes, good. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this.
Good.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
I'm
I
excited.
like it when a guest comes in, they're actually like they've listened to the podcast, which is a start.
Oh no, I'm on Reddit all the time.
Okay.
So-
You're
one of
deep
the-
in the lore.
I'm
deep.
deep in the lore.
Okay.
I've actually had to come away from Reddit because it just becomes too much. Because I want to talk about everything in depth, and we've only got an hour. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like gotta keep it down. Well, actually, on the 7th of I'm very particular.
Yeah, that's fair.
So do you disappear down rabbit holes on Reddit?
Yeah. They start on TikTok, and then somebody's like, "Oh, there's a Reddit page on this," and I'm like, "Oh, that's what I wanted to hear."
Then you're gone.
Then I'm gone.
Because I think of you as like quite a logical person. Like your day job is such a, do you know what I mean? It's like a very science-driven job.
But I'm also the most gullible person to exist.
Oh, really?
If you show me a good argument for anything, I'll believe. I watched the Flat Earther documentary, and halfway through, my boyfriend was like, "We're gonna have to switch this off because you sound very convinced right now." And I was like, "He's got evidence."
Listen, we've done a Flat Earth episode, and those fuckers have a lot of fun. They really do.
They do.
Going off to try and find the corners of the earth looks like the most fun holiday you can have. I mean, they're batshit, but
big respect.
yeah, but I mean, we work in comedy, so we deal in batshit every day, so it's fine. It's to us, those are normal people.
Yeah.
Any that you've been sort of on the fence with? Any you're not sure about?
I think my biggest one is that Elvis is actually still alive.
Yeah.
I could.
Do you think he's still alive now?
Well,
Because we did an episode on this, and there is, we could sort of believe that maybe he didn't die in 1978 or 9. I can't remember which year it was he died.
77.
77.
The 70s.
70s. But now he would be ancient.
yeah, no, I don't think he's still alive now, but I did read a theory that he is the first. Actually, I can't even find the page this theory is on because I wanted to show it to my boyfriend.
Okay.
But that he's the first success of cryogenics.
Oh, really?
That he was a test subject and he's the first one that's actually made it through.
So not Walt Disney.
No.
But-
Interesting.
Can't find it anymore on the internet. So
Yeah, well, see,
Just saying.
this is what you've said.
Yes, it's like the Library of Alexandria. It's all getting burned. There's things I used to go to all the time that are just gone. The Wayback Machine can't find it. It really bugs me.
yeah,
You know, and
that's a conspiracy in itself.
oh yeah, and like the internet. I mean, if you've used Google any time recently, you know how terrible it is.
Yeah.
But I remember I used to be able to use Google by, I'm looking for this Barbie doll and she's got 3 eyelashes and part of her eye is green, and it would come up with the doll.
Yeah.
I do that now and you get, here's an advert for Barbie now. And it's so annoying because it used to be amazing.
Yeah.
You kids, you don't know what it was like. Google was amazing.
It's got its own agenda.
It's because they're spending all their money on AI now, but that's...
Yeah.
I'm so bored of AI. You know? Like,
we'll not talk about it.
no. I mean, I'd love a robot maid. I absolutely love that. But not AI.
A film about, is it Companion?
Companion.
Yeah.
Companion. I can't wait to watch that.
Yeah, it looks really
It
good.
looks really good. I mean, it looks very Black Mirror.
Yeah.
As in like complete rip-off of Black Mirror. But I'm totally in on that.
Yeah,
It's
oh,
fine.
for sure.
And there's a German film bit like that as well, isn't there?
Well, there's lots of German films.
Yes.
There's also the what's it called? The one with that sexy man. What's his name?
That doesn't narrow it down.
Yeah, I know. It's like Ex Machina. That's a film.
Oh, that's a great film.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
really
yeah.
good film.
And yes, he is. He should be a bigger star.
I'm not gonna lie, you were both right.
Yeah. when he plays the dad in June.
Yes,
Oh, my
Oscar
God.
Isaac.
Oh, sorry. Oh,
That's
Yeah.
it.
Oh, yeah. He's a very sexy old.
oh my God. Like you're a little bit gay for him, even though you're the straightest man I know.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm definitely not the straightest man. But yeah, I mean, you can't look at him and think that's not a sexy man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer in
when I
hot
grow up,
is
I want to
hot.
be like him. And when you grow up, which is never.
I would like to be like him. I mean, especially in June with the beard and
Yeah,
Oh,
the
he's so good in that
robes.
film.
Yeah.
Oh, he's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I think he's more attractive than Timothée Chalamet, but then that's just like that's my heterosexual.
No, that's just common sense, I think.
I the boy Chalamet, I really do like. He has won me over. Every movie I've seen him in, I'm going, God, you're good. But he's a twink. So even though he's nearly 30, which is twink death, but he's just a
Fan of
boy.
Chalamet?
No, I don't like it.
No, not
I like him as an actor.
Yeah.
I think he's a really good actor, but I don't find him attractive at all. I wouldn't even call him a twink. He looks a bit like, he was like the epitome of rat boy summer, wasn't he?
Yeah,
he's got undeserved valor.
that's a very good analysis. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Use that on stage. So this conspiracy, Marilyn Monroe was murdered. Marilyn Monroe, one of the most iconic figures in American popular culture, passed away on August 5th, 1962 at the age of 36. Officially, her death was ruled a probable suicide caused by an overdose of barbiturates. However, her untimely death has remained shrouded in mystery, with numerous conspiracy theories suggesting that Monroe was not a victim of her own despair, but of foul play. Among these theories, the most enduring is the claim that Marilyn Monroe was murdered. So, Shalaka, fan of Marilyn?
Oh, huge.
Yeah?
Yeah. Definitely.
Okay.
Iconic, timeless.
Yeah.
Yeah. Slay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You? Oh, I already know.
I
I
adore and worship her. I can't take my eyes off her.
She's the OG when it comes to like female film stars. I mean, I guess there'd been Judy Garland before that and sort of big name, but in terms of like iconic Hollywood,
Yeah.
golden era.
There has been no one like Monroe before or since.
Also, she's a messy bitch.
Yeah,
which
she is, isn't she?
She's
Yeah.
a very
She
messy
was-
bitch.
yeah.
There's like soul to her. Which
Oh
is
my
really
God,
nice.
she went through hell, like because she was mentally unwell, and there's a really great book called Goddess that I thoroughly recommend that everyone read, because it absolutely adores her, but also tells you everything, and some of those things aren't good.
But she was self-deprecating as well, wasn't
Yeah.
she?
Oh yeah,
But it was like she didn't try to cover it up. She was quite honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why she was a great movie star. She's a great actor, and people really don't give her the credit for
Yeah.
that.
Agreed.
No one could do the comedy that she could do. Billy Wilder talked about this. The director of 7 Year Itch. He was just like, every movie he made was like, I need Monroe for this. Like it just needed to be her. And that's why even Sabrina Carpenter right now, like she's gorgeous, but she's trying to be Monroe.
Yeah.
Madonna, one of her great touch points is Monroe.
Yeah.
Because she is the goddess of love from the 20th century, and is great. And I really need to stop talking because we've only got an hour, and I could go on about Monroe for hours.
She was witty too, wasn't she?
Yeah. She was witty. She was smart. She's super intelligent.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I was just going to say, people always, I think one of the things that points to how witty she was her marriage to Arthur Miller, even though he was a bastard and an asshole.
He was.
You heard it here first. No, he didn't. There's like an artistic respect that was there.
Yes,
wasn't there? She
definitely.
was so intelligent, so smart,
Yeah.
She
so
held her
well
own.
spoken. Like she was amazing.
Yeah. She wasn't the problem in that marriage.
No.
No, oh, never. It's always the man.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. So the context of her death. In the months leading up to her death, Marilyn Monroe's life was marked by turmoil. She struggled with mental health issues, substance abuse, and a career that seemed to be faltering. Despite these challenges, many close to her claimed that she was optimistic about her future, particularly due to her rekindled interest in her acting career and new projects. This optimism contrasts sharply with the notion of suicide, raising questions about the official ruling. Adding complexity to her life, Monroe was rumoured to have had romantic and possibly political entanglements with powerful figures, including President John F. Kennedy and his brother, General Robert F. Kennedy. These connections have fueled speculation that her death was not an isolated tragedy, but a calculated act to silence her. So, I mean, there is a lot around her death that is very suspicious, isn't there? And I know often a lot of these things aren't documented in history in the same way they are now, obviously biological records, DNA, all that kind of stuff. But still, a lot of this is linked to her connections with very famous political people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she also had dealings with the mob, with via Frank Sinatra.
But he was a very good friend of hers, though, wasn't he?
Very defensive of her.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the idea that she's murdered is because of her links to JFK, President John F. Kennedy, and Bobby Kennedy.
Yeah.
And she probably did have a relationship with them both, probably at the same time, and it was dangerous for her to still be alive.
Yeah.
Do you think she liked the danger?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think especially when you have so much in your life and you're mentally unwell, and you know the power you have over powerful men. My theory is that she actually loved him, JFK.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
agree.
I think she actually loved him, and it got too much.
I think Frank Sinatra thought the same.
Yeah.
I think he didn't say explicitly, but his biographer did, that she was in love with John F. Kennedy. Never really got over him.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, the feds killed her, right? They did it to Martin Luther King.
That's true.
They absolutely did.
Yeah.
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 It's not like they haven't done it before.
No.
Or after.
Or was it, yeah.
After.
Are we convinced of her affairs with the Kennedys?
I am.
I'm fairly certain that's public record. I mean, I know it's speculation, but
There was, there was definitely a relationship of sorts,
Yeah.
and a quite close relationship. It's whether or not that relationship was.
And Bobby Kennedy was part of it as well. There were parties down on the beach where they did unspeakable things.
I mean, JFK, as well as being president, was a good-looking man.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And
Also,
a philanderer.
you don't sing happy birthday in that dress, in that way,
Yeah.
if you don't have an ulterior motive.
Yeah,
No.
fair. Got to feel sorry for Jackie.
Yeah. Well, Jackie, I love Jackie too.
I love Jackie. She was beautiful.
She's beautiful and a great woman. Gotta stop making
Yeah,
me talk
yeah.
about the gay icons like Monroe, Jackie. I love them all.
I think Jackie Kennedy got what she needed out of that marriage. I wouldn't feel too sorry for her. I think she got everything that she needed. She was successful after. She was successful before.
She knew exactly who Jack was, and
Yeah.
she the type of woman she was like, right, he has his parties, but I'm his wife.
Yeah.
And she was able to deal with that. And she's an incredible woman.
Yeah.
Like Carrie Johnson.
Like Carrie Johnson. No.
Carrie Johnson of her day.
It took me a second to remember who Carrie Johnson
It took
was.
me a second to remember her name, to be quite honest. But yeah.
She was married to a prime minister.
Sorry, an old prime minister whose current wife. We'll see how that progresses. So, theories of murder. The theory that Marilyn Monroe was murdered stems from the combination of suspicious circumstances, inconsistencies in the official narrative, and alleged motivations of those in power. So, political motivations of the Kennedys. One of the most prominent theories ties Marilyn's death to the Kennedys. She allegedly had affairs with both John and Robert Kennedy, and some theorists claim she knew sensitive information about their political dealings. It is suggested that Monroe was planning to go public with this information, potentially exposing state secrets. Her sudden death, according to this theory, was orchestrated to prevent a scandal that could have jeopardized the Kennedy administration. Evidence cited for this theory includes accounts from Monroe's friends who claimed she kept a red diary documenting her interactions with the Kennedys. This diary has never been recovered, leading some to speculate it was destroyed after her death.
Yes.
So this red diary is actually quite famous, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think there's so many accounts of friends of hers that said she definitely had this.
Yeah.
So, but the idea that she was going to sort of political secrets and government secrets, I don't know. Does that sound logical?
I gotta stop.
I guess my question would be, why would she do that? What's in it for her?
Exactly.
I don't know what's in it for her, but she was an activist in her time. She used to fight for the rights of Black people in the U.S. She's very vocal about her opinions. Maybe I've watched too much Suits with Meghan Markle. But that's where my head is right now, where I'm like, she seems like the kind of person who would fight for something that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And the US had a lot of like shady shit going on. Always do.
Always do, yeah.
Every single moment. But yeah, sorry.
I mean, the one of the things that makes me love Monroe is Ella Fitzgerald couldn't get booked in a club. And Monroe said, if you book her, I will sit in the front row every night that she's on. And she did that for Ella Fitzgerald. She put her head above the parapet. And it's Ella Fitzgerald. Of course she was going to make it anyway. In any way. But Monroe was like, hey, no, I'm going to stand up for people. And she was women for women, which is something that Monroe gets criticized for, because she was so clearly a sex bomb, so clearly used her sexuality. But she was women for women, and she was wonderful. Sorry, I've got to stop this. Because it's just be an hour of me going, and she was great. And you're all leaving the podcast studio.
Well, she did do a lot. That's right. And I think that gets swept under the carpet a bit, because we just think of her as this incredibly stunning blonde who was in some great movies and had an affair with the Kennedys. But actually, she was a lot more than that. But that kind of gets lost in the melee of all of this stuff. And this conspiracy is one of those things.
It's that classic character, right? Where
Yeah.
it's a woman who's too beautiful to exist, and everyone's like, she must be stupid. And turns out she's probably the smartest person in the room.
Yeah, and often was, especially at her press conferences. Her
Yeah.
press conferences are banging, by the way. If you get a chance to check them out on YouTube, do. She's so funny.
Yeah.
She could have done stand-up.
Yeah, she was above stand-up. Stand-up is for like low lives like us. She's
That is
way
true.
above stand-up.
That is actually true.
Oh,
lowest
Shalaka, that's so
form of
true.
entertainment.
Oh, it totally is. Oh.
Never getting off the bottom rung.
Also, I think there was a theory I was reading about, which to be fair, it is, the evidence is, what's the word for it? Not completely believable. But there was a woman who came out and said that her ex-husband had gone to Marilyn Monroe's flat and stolen a letter that she left, not the diary, but a letter that she left behind that had like a confession or some important information or whatever.
Yeah, I
And
think it was
everyone-
found like a couple of decades after she died. But yeah, there was a letter. I mean, again, whether it was genuine or not, but she did document a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
She did write a lot.
Yeah, she's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
gracious writer.
Yeah.
One of the interesting things is when the time of death was, when the ambulance was called. So shenanigans could have happened. So she was maybe meant to die early hours of the morning, but the ambulance didn't come till 6 in the morning. Why? And there was definitely stuff going on. There was definitely stuff being cleared up. The diary going missing was a big deal. I mean, Monroe was incredibly insecure. The hours in makeup, the hours of holding up filming. But that's because she cared about it. I mean, she was her own worst enemy in that regard. But she did have people around her that supported her and knew about this. So the diary going missing is very interesting. The fact that the ambulance wasn't called is very interesting.
Also, the most famous movie star in the world happens to overdose, and an ambulance is called hours and hours after. That's a bit.
Yeah.
That's a bit
It's almost
suspicious.
like Princess Diana or something.
There's a lot of parallels. I'm not going to lie.
We're just going through Dave's like top 10 icons in this episode.
Yeah. It's amazing for a homosexual man of how much he fantasizes about women. It is quite incredible. To the point where I almost doubt it. And then he wears t-shirts like that, and no. He's still on brand. So the role of the FBI and CIA, another facet of the murder theory, involves intelligence agencies like the FBI and CIA. Monroe was rumored to be under surveillance due to her relationships with the Kennedys and her alleged sympathies towards leftist causes. Some theorists believe her death was a result of government intervention, either because she posed a threat to national security or to protect the Kennedys. Declassified FBI files reveal that Monroe was indeed monitored, and her connections to powerful figures and political activists may have drawn unwelcome attention. However, no definitive evidence has emerged linking these agencies to her death. Well, that wouldn't happen, would it?
Yeah.
Really, let's face it, especially back then. But it is true to say she was being monitored.
Yeah.
Wasn't she? She was being watched.
It's the same story as Martin Luther King, isn't
Yeah.
it? Where he was being monitored and then suddenly he gets assassinated. Like, come on.
Yeah. But it kind of makes sense, I think, with anyone of that profile that has any links at all to political figures, that agencies like that are going to be monitored. I mean, I think even that happens, I would imagine that still happens now.
Yeah.
Like George Clooney is very close to the Democratic parties, and there's lots of big celebrities who are very close and big activists.
Yeah.
I suspect they are watching them in some way, shape
sure.
or form.
I mean, it's the US. Everyone's watching everyone,
Yeah.
right? The NSA is what it is today and has been.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't think... I mean, she was definitely being monitored. But my theory is, obviously JFK didn't do it himself, but the call had to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
And whether he knew or didn't know about it, that's different.
Yes.
But it could be someone else making a decision on his behalf. I know my theory is it was because of him. It doesn't necessarily have to be him being the one that decided that it had to happen.
In fact, it would probably be unlikely it would be that, because you want that disassociation.
Yeah.
But indirectly,
Yeah,
the
exactly.
decision got made.
Yeah.
There was also, I mean, one of the biggest pieces of this is the involvement of the doctor. So Dr. Ralph Greenson, Marilyn Monroe's psychiatrist, Dr. Ralph Greenson has also been implicated in some versions of the murder theory. Greenson reportedly administered a powerful sedative to Monroe on the day of her death, and some theorists argue that he either intentionally or accidentally contributed to her overdose. The relationship between Monroe and Greenson was reportedly close, with some describing it as unusually controlling. Critics of the official narrative point to inconsistencies in Greenson's account of the events leading up to Monroe's death, as well as discrepancies in the timeline of her discovery. This, to me, seems like the most likely way that they could have got to her.
Yeah, for sure.
It feels a little bit unlikely, I think, that she intentionally overdosed, but I can see that in a kind of Michael Jackson-esque way, a doctor advising, take this.
Yeah.
And if he did have this relationship with her that was so close, that would be the way they got to her.
Yeah. Also, the cold control thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's Britney Spears, isn't it? All over again. It's always women in power. There's a doctor who's in control of them, or there's someone who's in control of them that she trusts way too much.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, people trust doctors, don't they, Shalaka?
Yeah. Well, doctors of trains, no one trusts us. The trains are always late.
The trains are always late. Getting here today, the train that I was on was meant to go, and we just stood there in the station, and I've never felt stress like it.
Yeah.
And I thought, we've got to get here in time.
And you've nearly died twice.
I have nearly died twice, but I've never felt close to death as on that train.
Have you trusted your doctors? I'm just saying.
Well, yeah. Like I think I'd be dead if it wasn't for doctors. But I'm also heavily medicated, so what do I know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how they
You're
get you.
Marilyn Monroe, both of you. Peas in a pod.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I like her, because she fought against her bad mental health. I mean, she really did. And she had some terrible times. She was committed at one point.
And actually vocal about it at a time when no one was really being vocal
Yeah.
about their mental health problems.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the most suspicious aspects of Monroe's death is a lack of physical evidence. For example, no water or drinking glass was found in her bedroom, raising questions about how she ingested the large quantity of pills allegedly responsible for her death. There's also, as you said, a delay in the emergency response. Monroe was found unresponsive late in the evening, but there were significant delays in notifying emergency services. Reports suggest that several hours passed between the time Monroe was discovered and the time authorities were called, leading some to suspect a cover-up. That is, both of those are weird,
Yeah.
right? I mean, whoever turns up at the scene would surely be able to see how she had ingested the pills. So it suggests that something's happened in between. Someone's been in there
Yeah.
And removed stuff from the scene, maybe,
Yeah.
and also taken fucking ages to call an ambulance.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah. I saw a bit of someone's theory that there was no barbiturates found in her stomach, but it was in her blood and her liver, which makes sense with the theory that they took so long to call the ambulance, because there's no trace of whatever she was given in her stomach, but it was in like her liver and her blood. So you know what kind of it. Maybe I'm just thinking too much.
No, I mean, but the one of the suggestions is that it was given to her as a suppository.
Interesting.
I don't know how realistic that is,
Yeah.
but that was one of the suggestions, because there was no examination of that area
Right.
at the time.
Well,
Oof.
bits of her went missing.
Bits of her went missing.
Yeah, we'll come
Just
to
like
that.
JFK, bits of him went missing.
That's
too.
very true. That's very true. So conflicting witness statements. Witness accounts of the events surrounding Monroe's death vary significantly. Her housekeeper, Eunice Murray, gave contradictory statements about the timeline of the night, and her behaviour in subsequent interviews has been criticised as evasive. I mean, there would have to be a number of people involved, right? And you'd have to have, I guess, bought out certain people around her in order
Yeah,
for this to
for
happen,
sure.
to orchestrate it.
Yeah. Would you get into a fight with the FBI when they're offering you tons of money to change your statement or whatever?
Or threatening you.
Or threatening
Yeah,
you,
or
yeah.
threatening you,
What
yeah.
they've got over you.
You know,
Yeah.
we will punch you in the face. You know, like,
We'll
Not-
kill your whole family.
we'll kill your whole family. In fact, we'll wipe out your bloodline. You know,
Do we think this is more likely than her choosing to commit suicide?
I think so, but I told you I'm very gullible. But I think so, because if all of your friends are coming out after you've committed suicide, being vocal about how troubled your mental health is, and
Yeah.
they're not willing to sweep that under the rug, and they're saying your diary is missing,
Yeah.
I think it's very suspicious that.
Yeah, because your friends would kind of know what your frame of mind was if they'd seen you recently, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's that contrast between, yes, okay, she was going through some difficult times, but actually there were some positive things in her life, right? That she
Yeah.
was sort of talking about quite openly with her friends, not necessarily in public. And actually one of the rumors about the press statement was not that it was going to be something negative, was that it might be something positive, but the Kennedys got a bit spooked and thought, oh, it's going to be something sensitive.
Yeah.
We better have her bumped off now.
Yeah. Also, like if you're in that situation as one of her friends, there's something they're not saying or they cannot say, because there's one thing to be like, my automatic reaction would be, oh, this happened. Oh, I must not have known them very well. To immediately jump to, no, this is foul play. She's been murdered.
Yeah.
There's something they're not able to say about the situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
To like, it's a crazy leap to take unless you have a reason to think that way.
That's good logic.
Doctor trains, everyone.
So the pregnancy theory, you heard this one?
yes.
Yeah. Okay. So some people close to Monroe claimed that she had either been pregnant or had recently suffered a miscarriage before her death. According to this theory, Monroe may have been carrying the child of one of the Kennedy brothers. If true, this would have been an enormous political scandal, as both men were married and held significant power in the U.S. government. No, that's, if anything, an understatement. There are claims that Monroe had been under medical supervision due to pregnancy complications in the weeks leading up to her death. What do we think about this?
Oh, for sure.
You think she was pregnant?
I don't. I just don't know why someone would lie about that.
Yeah.
As in why they would just bring that up for no reason. Unless, I mean, to be fair, if it's like depending on the source, right? If it's coming from a crazy conspiracy theorist. just trying to find ways to link everything together, that's different. But if it's coming from...
Yeah, I mean, I think she was definitely under medical supervision. That's very clear. I mean, the fact that she had a personal doctor there in the first place, but I think she had been under medical supervision for a while. Whether that was partly due to that or mental health issues and other issues, we don't know. But it's probably fair to say that if she was pregnant with one of the Kennedys' babies,
that's motive.
That's definitely motive,
Yeah.
and it's about the biggest scandal you could possibly come with, right?
Yeah.
I mean, again, we go back to Diana theory. I mean, I don't think either of us actually think that Diana was pregnant, but that doesn't mean there isn't paranoia, right?
Yeah.
And so if the Kennedys are paranoid that she might be,
Yeah.
because as a president, you'd never live that down, would you? Not at that time, surely.
No, not in the 60s.
No.
But then
I mean, now you could. Now you can do whatever the fuck you want.
But in the 60s, like Jack Kennedy had people come into the White House. When I say people, I mean women come into the White House. Like it was known. It just wasn't talked about at all because he was the president, and he was a married man. And Jackie was complicit is maybe not the right word, but she definitely ran interference for that.
Yeah.
She got what she wanted out of the marriage. And I think she loved Jack as well. I'm not putting her down, but she knew what it was.
Yeah.
Bill
Clinton must be seeing that he wasn't president in the 60s.
Yeah. Donald Trump must be sitting there. And he was what, like 30 years old? No, I don't know.
Yeah, but he doesn't care, does he? I think he would just crack on.
No, I mean, he is.
Yeah. He is, yeah. So the autopsy and missing organs. One of the most mysterious aspects of Monroe's autopsy is that her stomach, small intestines, kidneys, and parts of her reproductive system were missing when her body was examined. Do you know about this?
No, I didn't know about this. That's crazy.
So Dr. Nucci, the pathologist who conducted Monroe's autopsy, later admitted that her organs had disappeared before he could study them properly. So this is a thing that did actually happen.
I mean, that's definitely shady.
Isn't it?
Well,
What do you mean her organs disappeared?
Yeah.
They just did. And Nucci has he go down a rabbit hole about him. He's a nightmare already.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Some theories suggest that this was an intentional cover-up to hide evidence of a pregnancy. Without her reproductive organs, it is impossible to confirm or deny whether Monroe was pregnant at the time of her death. Now, you're a doctor, but I'm pretty sure that's true, right?
Yeah, but what are they doing with her intestines?
Well, again, right?
I don't.
No, but what has that got to do with pregnancy?
Yeah, fair point.
They just took everything out. What doctor is this?
Reproductive organs and intestines. Yeah, I mean, I'm not. Maybe they just thought, well, we'll just take everything. He
was like, I'm going for the fallopian tubes. You know what? I'm going to take all the tubes.
Maybe he wasn't a doctor. Maybe.
Oh God, that's so much worse.
Yeah. I'll take everything. Then there's no risk.
But that sounds like a shady autopsy because when you're going into an autopsy in that situation and you're like, her organs are missing. What do you mean they disappeared?
You'd ask questions.
Yeah, right?
You'd go out the room and you'd be like,
there's
sorry, there's some bits missing.
You're telling me she was living without a stomach? There's no way. Where did the pills go?
Well, yeah, exactly. But then I think this was the point, right? They wanted to get rid of evidence of what she had taken or potentially a baby.
Yeah.
Could be both.
Could be both.
That's insane.
Yeah. I mean, stuff went missing in JFK's autopsy as well.
His brain went missing. I mean, I appreciate he got shot in the head, but that went missing. There's other parts that went missing.
The brain thing, my conspiracy theory is there's a very rich man, so rich that we don't know what his name is, who bought it.
Yeah. Do you know what?
Bought JFK's brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's some things money can't buy.
Yeah.
I mean, except money can buy this, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean? When you've got 6 Lambros,
But
what else are you going to do with your
But you could
money?
never tell anyone that it's JFK's brain.
You could tell all your other rich friends.
Yeah, we're not part of that club.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
fair point.
They do crazy things.
They do some really crazy shit.
Part of the reason Squid Game works so well is because it just shows the upper echelons of
Yeah.
and there are people the
think
royal
it's-
family and stuff.
So maybe they took her
people so
intestines
much
as a little
Souvenir? Intestines?
Yeah, could be. Yeah.
Marilyn Monroe's intestines on your mantelpiece. So photographic and eyewitness testimony. Some photographers and friends of Monroe claimed that in the months before her death, she appeared to have a small baby bump. Celebrity gossip magazines in 1962 hinted at a possible pregnancy, though no official reports were ever released. Monroe was reportedly seen visiting an OB-GYN, I don't know what that is, in Los Angeles multiple times before her death, but her medical records were never made public.
This is the straightest man here. He doesn't know what an OB-GYN is.
Yeah.
Obstetrician and a gynecologist.
Oh, okay. Right.
Women bits.
Women bits. Right. So, see? He wasn't wrong. So she was seen visiting. I mean, these aren't verified reports, but there are accounts of this happening. So it does seem likely that this would have been at least possible. I mean, of course it's possible.
Yeah.
What do we think?
Can you imagine how sexy that baby would have been? Sorry, as an adult.
Yeah.
That's not nuts.
Would have been the most attractive human.
In the world,
Yeah.
JFK and Marilyn Monroe's baby.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so attractive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it could end up being like a Brooklyn Beckham. Like, do you know what I mean? It could go down that road.
Yeah, can't cook.
Can't do anything. Can't take photos.
That baby would have had the worst photography direction of all time.
What are your thoughts on this one?
Brooklyn Beckham. I mean, if she was pregnant, I know Monroe struggled to get pregnant, and it was probably because she had a backstreet abortion at a very young age. I don't want to say unkind things, but she was probably a prostitute at some point when she was a teenager. She really was thrown out on her own, although she married very, very early.
Yeah.
But married a soldier, he disappeared. She kind of had her own life, but like she was like 17 at this point. Like there was no one there for her. Everything that she had, she sort of bought her own way, and she understood what worked. Do you know what I mean? She was like, she had a Patreon, and we have a Patreon, but she had a patron who kept asking to marry her, and she said no to him, but he would buy everything for her because he just adored her, because it was Monroe.
Yeah.
She, like when she went from Norma Jane to Monroe, there was something that she could turn on, and people loved her, people saw that all the time. And she was probably a prostitute. She did try to get pregnant with Arthur Miller, and I know that didn't go well, probably because she...
And this is actually one of the arguments against the theory, is that she apparently did struggle to get pregnant.
Yeah.
But this theory suggests that Monroe was planning to go public with the pregnancy, which would have caused the political scandal.
Yeah.
So I think there was going to be a press statement she was going to make, and that was the thing that was spooking the Kennedys. That's a theory.
Yeah.
So, like we said earlier, it could be something she's releasing political secrets, or it could have been this, which would have been monumental.
Yeah.
Because she couldn't have been persuaded to get rid of the baby, I don't think. No. She did want to be a mother.
And actually, by going public with it, kind of protects her in a way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if something then happened to that baby afterwards, the public will be like, well, hang on a fucking second.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've watched a lot of TV shows about the American government.
Yeah.
And the American government's been destabilized for less than a pregnancy
baby.
that's completely ruined the foundations of who people think the president is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it would have been a huge... And it's not just that he's the president of the United States. His family has money. Everyone involved in that equation has money. They can't afford... They have so much money that the only thing they care about is perception and respect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think they would have put themselves in any sort of situation to get any of that ruined for them.
Yeah.
Because he'd have to resign immediately.
Of course, absolutely.
Yeah, there's no way around it. He would never be president again.
No.
One in that family would ever be president again. Yeah. It's monumental.
Yeah.
Although weirdly, how things have played out, that's still this true statement.
That's true. So Frank Sinatra always believed that Marilyn Monroe was murdered. In a memoir titled Frank Sinatra and Me in the Wee Small Hours, Sinatra's former manager and close friend, Tony I can't pronounce this. Sinatra's former manager and close friend writes, a friend believed she was murdered and never got over it. He said that claims that Monroe often confided in Sinatra, with whom she was very close, because they were good mates, weren't they? After her affairs with the Kennedy brothers ended, she was ostracized by them. Monroe allegedly told Sinatra she didn't understand why they'd shut her out completely once she'd stopped having sex with him. But shortly before her death, Monroe was staying at the Cal Neva Lodge near Lake Tahoe, which Sinatra part-owned. And the book says that she was actually there with her ex-husband and baseball star Joe DiMaggio. So there's quite a lot of rumors at the time that she was about to rekindle her relationship with Joe DiMaggio, because I think she'd definitely been seen with him. And again, that is another possible thing that could have been the press statement. That's another
that she was getting back with him.
Yeah, to me that seems the most likely thing she would have said.
I mean, DiMaggio sent her a red rose every week for her grief. Like, he never got over her. I mean, it's Monroe. Of course you're not going to get over her.
He wasn't her first husband, right? He was,
No. Her first husband, I can't remember his name, but he was just a boy.
Yeah.
And it didn't last. And then the second husband was Arthur Miller. I might have this wrong. And then it was DiMaggio.
Was it?
Okay.
Yeah.
He was after Arthur Miller. Okay.
I might have that wrong.
Whilst there, a press conference was announced that Monroe was due to present at, but she died before it could take place. The book claims that the actor was set to announce her reunion with DiMaggio. However, many believe that she would share secrets about her affairs with the Kennedys, and the book claims that Sinatra thought she was being silenced because of this assumption. I mean, that's a lot to come out with in one press conference, isn't it?
Yeah.
Baby, Joe DiMaggio, and some political secrets. I mean, that's a show.
That's a show.
Yeah.
That's a show.
I mean, Monroe knew how to deal with the press. I mean, that's was part of her power.
Yeah.
And that was also part of the reason why she was such a big star. And other people, like DiMaggio, couldn't deal with that. He just couldn't handle that she like did the 7-year itch where her skirt blows up.
Yeah.
You know, that really was something he couldn't deal with. And if you watch the movie, it's so tame. I mean, you get the idea, but there's like nothing. It's nothing untoward, you know. And shit, I'm sorry, I love it.
7-Year Itch.
Yeah.
I cannot remember it.
Okay.
I watched it when I was 16 in my pretentious movie phase.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I do remember Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend. Just for the outfits. maybe.
Gentlemen prefer blondes.
Gentlemen prefer
Gentlemen prefer
blondes.
blondes.
Which one has the yellow dress? Is it Gentlemen Prefer Blondes?
Oh my God, now that you're saying that, I don't know.
I think it's because Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend has that blue off shoulder with the diamonds around her neck and the pink background.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Yes, she was murdered.
Seamlessly brought back. So Frank believed that if the press conference hadn't been announced, she would have lived a lot longer. It's also claimed that Sinatra never thought she'd share secrets of the affairs because she still had feelings for JFK, exactly as you said. The book alleges that several sources told Sinatra she'd been murdered with a Nembutal suppository. Nembutal?
Oh, that's what I was saying about the suppository.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that Robert Kennedy or the mob were also involved. Robert Kennedy was in with the mob, wasn't he?
Yeah, the Kennedys were like I mean, it's speculation, but JFK probably won the election because of all the voting machines in Chicago. And those voting machines are old world, these 1960s voting machines are still in the Chicago Bay. Like they get found. So there was mob dealings with getting JFK in because he was a Catholic.
Yeah.
And you know, Catholics
That's
are terrible.
so fucking cool. I mean, it's not cool, but it's cooler
it's
than
cool.
it's cool. It's cooler than now. When you think of the parallels with now, Donald Trump gets his voting machines rigged by Elon Musk, the biggest loser on the planet.
Yeah.
At least this guy was like involved with the mob.
Did you see their press conference today, or the last couple of days?
Greenland.
Elon Musk was like standing next to Donald Trump in the Oval Office, and Trump's in his suit. At least he looks like semi-presidential.
Yeah.
And Musk is just next to him in kind of like a t-shirt, a blazer, a baseball cap, with his kid on his shoulders.
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah.
mental.
Yeah.
It's like a fucking kindergarten.
Yeah, I know the mob is bad.
But Musk is worse.
Musk is worse.
We're
and
saying
the
Elon
mob,
Musk is worse than the mob.
They are. He owned an Emerald Mine. He's a horrible man.
He is a horrible man.
Also, the mob is like cooler. At least they have like, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have never met the mob, but they seem very.
Well,
like,
not all of them.
Not all of them.
Yeah.
But they seem way cooler than Elon Musk.
I think, yeah, I mean, I would say Trump is cooler than Elon Musk. Most things are cooler than Elon Musk.
That's very
Hard not
true.
to be cooler than Elon Musk. But I mean, that seems like the route to get to her. Like the mob seems like quite a tangible connection that they could go through because it's unofficial. They were very in with them. They had the power to do that, right?
Yeah, and I mean, like the assassination of JFK as well has been attributed to the mob. You know, the sort of the muddy waters, although I think it was probably George Bush Sr. But anyway, you know, so I mean, she was a very influential figure, and there was definitely something good. No, that's not right. There was definitely a reason to silence her. You know, if you were paranoid about it. You know, I mean, the talking about suicide, she was. Her mental health wasn't great. She was a deeply insecure woman, even though she was Marilyn Monroe, and she'd just been fired from Something's Got to Give. Although I tend to believe she played her hand wrong, and she was just holding out for more money and more time. The clips of Something Got to Give are fantastic, and the movie they ended up making eventually is not fantastic. Sorry, I do love Doris Day, but it just isn't as good.
But she did have other things in the pipeline. She had other movies that could be made. She was also possibly rekindling this relationship with DiMaggio. So there were things that you think, well, there's a lot still to live for, right?
Yeah.
Also, if she's been medicated, like forget the suicide theory, if you just talk about overdose, yes, there's some fishy stuff with the doctor, but if she's been on medication for as long as people claim she has, you're telling me just one day she forgot how much
Right.
to take?
She knew what she was doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Unless she'd been sedated beyond belief and then just... But even then, like, someone who's that practiced at taking medication, one day they just forget.
It's so much better having a doctor on this, isn't it? We talk with such little authority on this stuff.
While I have you, Shalaka, I've got this little bump on my head.
My God, we're in the room with an actual doctor. Possible evidence. In 1985, a woman claimed that her ex-husband, actor Peter Lawford, went to Monroe's house the night she died and destroyed a note that the distraught actress left before she died. So this is the one that you were talking about, I think. Though it's not clear if the note was actually taken, the deputy district attorney who conducted the 1982 investigation said that still might not mean that the actress was killed. If she was despondent and wrote a note saying, "Bobby Kennedy drove me to suicide," it is not clear that the taking of this note would have been a crime, he said. I mean, no, but it's pretty overt if that's what, do you know what I mean? Like, why would you write that?
Also, you're breaking into a very, very rich actress's house and all you're taking is a note.
Exactly. Like, you'd get some good shit, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You'd find some coin. You'd find some jewelry.
Yeah, you'd find any of her dresses
Yeah.
you could sell on eBay not eBay, whatever they had.
Yeah.
Marketplace.
Auction house.
That's right, in 1985. Facebook Marketplace. Monroe's FBI file, unearthed 50 years after she died, showed that the feds knew about theories alleging the actress was murdered, but do not show that the Bureau looked into the claims. The FBI file also revealed that the Bureau was interested in Monroe's political affiliations and refers to her as positively and concisely leftist. This whole thing, like, she was a leftist, therefore we got to get rid of her. I mean, harsh. In theory, Kennedys were leftists.
No, but back then, like, being a communist
Yeah,
was probably the worst thing to be. So,
I mean, the Democrats were left wing, but not left wing.
They're not left wing. No,
they were left wing the way
they currently are.
I have to say, I find it difficult to get rid of her. The idea that they would have got rid of her because she was a lefty, that just doesn't seem to sit right.
I mean, they tried to do other things to other people because they were... Like, what's that movie? I just know all of this from a Tom Hanks movie. But there was a screenwriter in the U.S. who basically stopped getting work, right?
Oh yeah,
because he was leftist. But like, that's the worst they did to people who were left wing.
Yeah,
you blacklisted people. I mean, it destroyed people's lives, but talent will out.
Yeah. I mean, the comedy community would be largely fucked if they're going after all the lefties. Not all, though.
I'm going to be on GB News tomorrow.
And that's where I see you naturally sitting.
Oh, thank you.
Criticisms of the murder theory. While the murder theory is compelling to many, it has its critics. Skeptics argue that Monroe's history of substance abuse and mental health struggles make suicide a more plausible explanation. They also note the lack of concrete evidence linking her death to a murder plot. But I mean, there wouldn't be evidence, surely, of linking it to a murder plot, especially if they've gone via the mob.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole point of a murder is you want to get away with it.
Yeah.
So you cover it up, you know, like, and
if what you're doing is just buying out her doctor, buying out her housekeeper, buying out the people around her, in a way, it's relatively straightforward if your method is overdose, right?
Yeah. Also, even if she did commit suicide, I know she was lonely and things like that, but you're telling me there's not a single person that she would write a note to?
No.
there must be someone, Frank Sinatra, Joe DiMaggio.
Yeah.
There would have been someone that she left a note to. Elton John, he wrote a song about her. So.
Yeah.
He did. Beautiful song. And then he ruined it. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He just had to write it in a week. And it was... Anyway, it's fine. It's fine. There's a lot of parallels between her and Diana, aren't there?
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, yeah.
so many.
The way they were hounded and
Queen Elizabeth killed them both. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Queen Elizabeth.
done. Yeah.
Queen Elizabeth and Marilyn Monroe the same age.
Yes.
Oh,
it's
she
true.
was jealous, is what I'm hearing.
I think it's nearly 50 years to the day, on the day we're recording this podcast, of the day that she changed her name from Norma Jean to Marilyn Monroe. Sorry, not 70 years. It would be 70 years. wouldn't it?
Wow.
Early 50s.
Well, I'm 34, so I wouldn't.
Yeah,
know.
you wouldn't know. No, you're too young. Way too young. Pregnancy doubts. So Monroe had suffered multiple miscarriages in the past and had a known history of endometriosis, a condition that made pregnancy difficult. I cannot read today. There is no solid medical evidence proving that she was pregnant at the time of her death. Some believe that the missing organs from her autopsy were simply a result of poor record keeping and improper procedures rather than an intentional cover-up.
No, you're saying that the most famous woman in the world dies and you've just lost her organs because someone can't, there's an intern who can't write down things.
Even if you weren't famous, who loses organs?
Yeah.
In any autopsy?
No. And you're telling me that it's Marilyn Monroe and no one thought to have safety with the way they handled that? Things just kind of like went missing.
Yeah, she's not going onto a public ward, is she? She's not being wheeled into, it's...
Yeah. She's going to a specialized
Yeah.
hospital, a specialized morgue,
But
whatever.
then that would make it easier, wouldn't it? If it was like a private clinic for them to steal her organs.
Yeah, for sure. There's no way they just went missing. Yeah.
Careless. What do you think about this one?
Oh, I think it's very suspect. I think it's all very suspect. And even if she was suicidal, maybe she was left to die. Do you know what I mean? Like I think there's other forces in the death of Monroe.
Yeah.
I think she was murdered, but like I also think it's possible that she was left to die.
The words are probable suicide. That's the official cause of death. Probable suicide. Is that still a cause of death now? I guess it might be.
Yeah.
If you can't say conclusively it was suicide.
I mean, not everyone leaves a note. Which
Shame though.
But I could imagine Monroe who kept a diary and everything. I can't imagine that she wouldn't.
Yeah.
Because there was enough of a drama queen in her to go, these are my last words.
Yeah,
there
you would,
was
wouldn't you?
enough
Yes, you would.
there, even in her worst state.
Yeah.
Because she was very, 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 very interested in her image. I mean, the makeup that she did, like her makeup is revolutionary because she's cared so passionately about the creature that she had created.
Yeah.
And not the woman that she was, if that makes sense. So I can't imagine that she wouldn't leave a suicide note if this was what happened.
Yeah. Also, like, she's taken so much time and effort to create this entire persona.
Yeah.
There's no way that she would just be like, fuck it. See?
Yeah, like
Not at 36.
No.
not 36.
Was Diana 36 as well?
Yeah.
Suspicious.
Suspicious.
Fucking Queen Elizabeth. So the theory that Marilyn Monroe was murdered persists because of the unanswered questions and the high-profile nature of her life and relationships. While the official ruling of suicide remains the most widely accepted explanation, the inconsistencies in the narrative and the potential motives of powerful individuals continue to fuel speculation. Whether Monroe's death was a tragic act of despair or a calculated act of silencing, it remains one of the most enduring mysteries of the 20th century. So, Shalaka, was Marilyn Monroe murdered?
Yes.
Okay. David.
Yes, justice for Marilyn.
Yeah.
They killed her. Who they are, I don't know.
Also, that last sentence where the answer is it's inconclusive and there's a lot of vagueness around it. If you're so sure that it was a suicide, firstly, you wouldn't call it probable.
Yeah.
Secondly, you have answers that you're not giving out.
Yeah.
Just put it to rest.
Yeah.
I'm
going to say I'm with you guys on this one. And that is rare. But there's just, I just, looking at everything leading up to her death, it seems unlikely that she would have chosen to take her own life. I think she may have been assisted in doing it.
Yeah.
As in, like, the doctor has assisted that happening. So she has maybe physically taken the drugs, but unknowingly
Yeah.
killed
her.
herself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
There's too many people involved that had too much to lose.
Yeah.
So
And someone's got her intestines on the mantelpiece.
Oh, God.
And Bobby Kennedy's brain. No, Robert Kennedy's brain.
Well, Bobby Kennedy's, but no,
no,
they found
John F. Kennedy's brain.
John F.
Yeah.
Kennedy's
Lovely.
brain.
Fucking imagine walking into that house.
Well, you know,
I think
rich
it's
people-
like frozen on a mantelpiece.
Yeah.
Not on a mantelpiece,
Frozen.
in a display case.
Okay.
I mean, it's preserved in a display case.
Yeah.
I bet there's a dungeon of a rich man somewhere where you can go see it if you have enough money. Sorry.
That sounds suspiciously correct.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk, I'm telling
Come
you.
full circle.
Yeah. Shalaka, would you like to look into the camera, tell people where they can find you, follow you, where they can see your shows, all that kind of stuff?
You can follow me on @Shalaka Kurup on Instagram, and I post all my shows there. I'm doing work in progresses, so come to one of those.
Yes, do. She's a fantastic comedian. You will love it. Would you like a Marilyn Monroe joke to end the podcast?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Very much so.
What did the red carpet say when Marilyn Monroe walked on it? Finally, someone who deserves me.
Yeah.
That's
That's
very
a joke.
nice.
That's just a truism.
That is a truism. There was so many harsh jokes. I was like, no, we're going to go with something poignant.
Yes.
That's the end of the podcast. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye! If you like the podcast and fancy extra episodes and early access every week, why not join our Patreon? Just £5 a month and you'll be helping support the pod. Remember, we love you. Bye!